Blocks are great tools that enable us to recreate similar line work rapidly. They can also contain metadata in what is called attributed blocks. A block attribute is a label or tag that essentially attaches data to your line work. Some examples of this data could be a part number, price for that part, specific comments, names, cost, manufacturer, anything you can dream of. When a block is created, you can add text to it, but that doesn't make it an attribute. You have to add attributed text to the block. They are distinctly different. Attributed text in a block can be edited and extracted by the user inserting the block. They can also be visible or invisible. When an attributed block is inserted into your file, you'll be prompted to enter in the data values that will be stored with that block. Some attributes can be constant, or some attributes can be uneditable, like a part number or a name for an example. Let's open up the attributed block example. This is a typical, very simple attributed block. It's a title block for a drawing. Right here, you can see that this is a block. All the other grips here also tell you that those are attributed fields. That means we can edit them. To edit the attributes of a block, you just double-click the block. That will open up the attribute editor. Here you have different tabs, and here you have a list. I'm going to stretch it down so you can see everything that's in our file. While this is open, I can't zoom out, I can't pan, it yells at me. So all you can do is edit the text that's in here. Now you can see the names and the text will correspond with what you see here. This is the plan tag, this is the prompt, and this is the value. This is the plan name 1, and the value is what AutoCAD will insert by default if you don't put anything into it. It's a placeholder. I come down here to the value field, and I just edit this text. As you make changes to that text, you'll see that your drawing will update. And you can change it. Type in your text, press enter, and it takes you down to the next option. Now you can see it'll type in whatever you type in. Just make your changes. And press enter and continue on. You have your sheet title, the client name, job number, designed by, drawn by, date, sheet number, and total number of sheets. So you can put in numbers, you can put in text, anything that you can put into your annotation, your text, you can put in here. If you right click, you get a cut, copy, paste, delete, insert field, and a select all type of a thing. That'll select everything in here. When you're finished, click apply or click OK, and you come out of the text editor. So that's simple. That's what's really cool about attributed blocks. And now I can copy this. I essentially can put it on another drawing. If my sheet title, my client name, my drawn by, date, designed by, project number are all the same, I don't have to reinsert or retype those bits of information into every drawing that I create. I can just copy this title block and put it in there, and most of my work is already done for me. All I'll have to do is maybe change the sheet title, and since it's not sheet number 1, it's sheet number 2. Now let me show you a little trick. If you hold down the Control key and double click on the attribute, I can edit just that one. Now, a lot of times, if you double click on it, it may or may not, though it typically will, come to the right piece of data that you want to change. So you have to type it in, click OK, and go through a couple of steps. If I'm only changing one attribute, I like to use this little tip. Well, how do you create a block that has attributes in it? That's a great question. Now, I want to caution you, it can be a little overwhelming because there are a lot of different options available to you. We'll only look at some of the basics so that you can make your own attributed blocks. To create an attributed block, all you have to do is create an attribute definition. It's sort of like creating text. only there are a lot more, variables and things to assign to it. So let's edit this block so that we can see some existing attributes, plus we'll be able to add some more into it. And you can make any block an attributed block. You just have to add an attribute definition to it. Now, normally you would double click a block to activate it in the editor. Well, that's hard to do with an attributed block because when you double click it, it opens up the attribute editor. So that trick is gone here. You have to select the block itself and then pick the block editor button or right click and go to the block editor option. So this is the title block. That's what we want to edit. We click OK. Now you can see here, it looks a little bit different because some of these are really expanded out. But if I look at one of these attributes like sheet, double click it to edit it. And you have three main points here of interest. One is the tag. That's the name of it. That's what it's called. That is an identifier for that attribute. The second one is the prompt. So if you use the insert command to insert an attributed block, it will prompt you to fill in each one of these attributes. And this is what it will tell you. Hey, this is the sheet title. And then by default, it will put in sheet title if you just press the enter key. Let me show you that before we go any further. So start the insert command. We're going to go to the title block. It's the only block in the file, so you'll be okay. Now I want my scale to be at 1. We're going to specify the insertion point on screen. Everything else is okay. Click OK. Now this block is a little bit bigger than the others, so evidently those have been scaled down. That's okay. We're going to find our insertion point. For right now, just put it anywhere in the drawing. And while you're inserting your block, you can use your mouse with your scroll wheel to zoom in or out, or to click and hold it so that you can pan around. It's very useful. Pick your insertion point. Now, the block didn't disappear, it's just not completely in yet. It's asking you for the plan name. Remember, we looked at it and it said what plan name 1, plan name 2, or the sheet title. Well, here's the tag is plan name number 1. The prompt is plan name, and the default of what it's going to enter is plan name. Now we're going to give it a name here. We're going to call it my drawing. Press enter. And now it goes down to the next attribute. This is plan name number 2. Say, I made this. Enter. And it goes down the list. Client name, we'll call it XYC or XYZ. Client name 2. You can leave one blank. Just press the space bar. Job number. Or you can just press enter and it will just put in the default field information and just go through there. So this client here, client number 2, if I want that field to be blank, I edit it, put in a space, and it's blank. And that's the same case with any of these. So that's what it looks like when you insert an attributed block.